Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar, and real quickly, I want to do a thoughts post on something that I just came across. One of my friends who used to live in Houston, she is still subscribed to like all of the news and stuff that is dealing with Texas, and so she sent me a link of something that happened, and I think it happened on Tuesday. Y'all know that today is Thursday. So now we're getting the footage now. Um, so just in case you haven't heard about it, there are twins who were locked away and they were able to finally free themselves, right? They are malnutrition, um, malnutrition really, really bad. And they were going around this neighborhood knocking on doors all throughout the like early morning hours, and finally around five something somebody finally opened their door. Now keep in mind the person who opened the door was a single mother who had a small baby, single mom who had a small baby, taking a chance, because a lot of these kids really do go up to these people's houses and they will make you think that something is wrong when it's not, and then they'll bum rush you, get in your house, halfway kill you, just so they can, get a good laugh off and steal some stuff. And I'm just like, as I'm watching the video footage, I'm saying to myself, that's probably what a lot of other people are thinking, because they really there have been, I've seen footage of children doing this stuff. So it's like I almost don't blame them, but it's sad that you can't take people at their word. But they were really going around, and you can see the video footage where you saw other people asking what was wrong, what's going on, and they're basically trying to verbalize that they need to be able to come inside. The temperature is dropping, and you know what I'm saying? I guess because you can't really see that well because it was nighttime, most of them were like, nah, outside of that. Because if they would have seen them, like if it had been daytime, I think they would have better been able to see them, because you could see how visibly damaged everything was on them. Their bodies were like, they had been being beaten, abused really, really bad. The handcuff marks on their arms, like they showed graphic footage. Like because they are under the age of 16, they did not show their faces. They showed like everything that they could show within those parameters, because you still have to take into account that they are children. They are 16-year-old twins. It was a boy and a girl, and they were so small. Now there are some people who are like super small, but they eat all the time, and they could quite possibly have a tapeworm, or that's just how they are. I had a cousin who was like that, and not I mean until she started having kids and all of that, that's when she finally started like getting some size on her, because she's always been a twig. Went into the military, did all this, and was still a twig when she was in the military until she had her first child. Then she kind of got a little bit of weight, but then, like I said, not until she started having more children did she actually like keep weight on her. But she has literally always been a twig, but she eats down, can eat more than me, and I'm huge. So anyway, I saw this story and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Now keep in mind, this is another part of the story. When they were eating, they were being forced to eat their own feces and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, what do you mean? And then whenever they were gonna bathe, they were forced to bathe in old dirty mop water. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Now, to add insult to injury, these are black people. And I'm just like, we already have been oppressed to the max. Why would you then have children and do this to them? One of them, one of the parents, or the parent is the mama. She had a boyfriend. Now he is a part, more than likely he's a part of the issue. They have located them because they were in Texas. I think this happened in like Cypress, Texas or something like that. And they located them in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, picked them up, and I guess they're going to face charges, or whatever they're going to do. I don't know. But I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like, this makes no sense. I don't understand what goes through somebody's mind, or what has to be going through somebody's mind to say, all right, this is what I'm going to do to my child that I gave birth to. Heifer, you gave birth to 2 babies. You gave birth to them vaginally, or they were removed from your body. You went through, or you like most people have gone through a lot when they have given birth to more than one child at the same time. Why would you then turn around and somehow think that this was okay? I don't understand. And I'm sorry, we're gonna have to stop blaming. I mean, and I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but we're gonna have to stop saying, oh, mental illness. Some people are just evil. I'm sorry. Some people really are just evil, and they want to plead insanity for that to try to get off. I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but she looked pretty sane to me. And I mean, you cannot really judge a book by its cover, so to speak. But I'm just like, it would not surprise me if this heifer was already doing bits and pieces of things like this that was leading up to what ultimately ended up happening to them. But in order for her to keep the man she was with, she wanted to spend more time with him and all of that. And even though they're 16 years old, they still need their mom. They still need their mom. So why would you then, you know what I'm saying? This is me speculating. I don't know, because that's what tends to happen, because it's like he's in on it too. They arresting him too. What tends to happen is these heifers be so desperate to have a man that they'll do anything to have time with him. The kids might have said something about not being able to have, their basic needs met, and then there was an attitude that happened. There was an issue that all of a sudden was happening on behalf of the mama, because it's like, man, I'm trying to spend time with my man, and you in the way. How dare you want to eat normal food? How dare you sit up here and use up electricity? How dare you cost me money, knowing good and well that that's what happens when you give birth to kids? But anyway, I don't even know if this heifer has more kids. She does have a history, and they sat up there and they ignored it. Now, I think she had a history in Louisiana. I don't know if she's from there or whatever, but I think that when everything went down, currently that was in Texas, and they fled to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But yeah, she actually has a past. She has some child abuse and neglect charges from back in the day, and they decided to ignore that. And it's like, why would you do this? I can't. Y'all, when I tell y'all I was sick, I had to sit and just take a moment to even just gather myself before coming on here. But I just want to know, what are your thoughts on this? Do y'all think that they should get life in jail, prison, or something like that? Like, what they should do? What is it that y'all think that they should do to people like this, like on the regular? Because every time I look up, this is what people are doing, whether it's children that they birthed or had a hand in creating, or it's children that they are getting a check for. Because ultimately, I'm just like, okay, are you getting a check for these kids, and that's why you kind of keeping them around? Like, I don't understand what possesses people to sit up there and be like, oh, let me chain somebody up to something. Let me handcuff them up to stuff. Let me abuse them. Let me deprive them of their basic needs. Why? Like, their bodies were so badly beaten up. It was old bruises, new bruises. I'm just like, somebody please, this don't make no sense. I'm really hopeful that since they now have been, I think that somebody took them into custody, into somebody's custody. Hopefully it's a family member that ain't on the same type of stuff the mama on, or it is a good foster home. And I say that very loosely because sometimes they are not to be trusted. Like I just said a few minutes ago, there are some that are really here for the check, and that's it. They just want to be able to have the bodies in their house to get them checks. And I'm just like, I don't like that. I do not like that at all. But yeah, I'm hopeful that after all of this has happened, that they will somehow be able to lead, and I mean, dare I say, a normal life. Like, I don't know how, because I mean, I have experienced a lot of traumatic things in my life, and in all honesty, it helped me to be, when I was a social worker, and I do plan on becoming one again. When I was a social worker, I feel like that is what helped me to be able to get through to my clients. I was a child protective services social worker, for those of y'all who don't know. And I loved my job, loved it. But there were things that were happening on my cases, and whether it was a brand new case that was given to me because of the unit that I worked in, or it was a case that came in because of somebody calling in an abuse and neglect possibility or whatever, and they had to go out and do an investigation on all of that. It just depended on what was going on. It was just the fact that there were so many times that it was an open case before I got it, and they passed it off to me, that they had never been able to get through to these people. And then I came along, I did what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm brand new, fresh out of school. Like, I had an internship at the same place that I did my, time at when I was a social worker. But at the same time, it's like, how am I able to break through? And it had to dawn on me eventually. Like, it really did dawn on me. Wow, you went through a lot. You went through a lot of the same stuff that these children on your caseload are going through and have gone through. And that's why some of the parents that are on the caseload, they went through the same stuff too. So when they're coming to me and they're telling me all these things, and I'm just saying to myself, you just don't even know how much I do relate to you. Some of the clients would feel as though I felt like I was better than, because I was a social worker. And for them, they were like low income and all this. And like, essentially, shoot, I was low income too. Like we don't get paid like that. Like, I didn't have a master's degree. And even then, a lot of times they lowball you. And so in my mind, when I got out of school and they offered me a job less than 5 days after I graduated, I was here for it. I was like, yes. It was only a formality for me to have to come in and do my interview. That was it. Like, they was just like, we need you. We want you. You know what I'm saying? I did that great as an intern. But I actually loved my job. I did not play those games when it came to my caseload. And I feel like that's why so many social workers get a bad rep, because stuff like that. But see, when they said that this heifer had a background, she already had a history of child abuse and neglect, that's making me think, okay, does this heifer still have an open case? I'm sorry, because as I've already told y'all before, when I was a social worker, you have monthly meetings, case closures are what they call them, where every person in every department, you have your supervisor or the supervisor of the whole, department, accompanied by a person who was within your unit that wants to present a case for case closure, if at all. But you still had to have representatives from each department, even if they had nothing to do with what you was doing, like that. Even if they wasn't in your unit, they still had to be present, and you had to present your case and basically go from start to finish, how the case became to be and all of that. Give the rundown of what all you said that you needed implemented for them to do and what they did in order to make that happen so that the case could safely be closed, in your opinion. And then everybody votes on whether or not they see that the clients did what they were supposed to do in order for the case to be closed. If they agreed on it, you could close your case. And you can let them know you did everything you were supposed to do. You did everything that you needed to do to fulfill all of these obligations so that we can close your case. We don't have any more involvement with your family. Keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully we don't ever have to see you again unless it's in passing and it's going to be on great terms. That's cool. I was only able to take one of my cases to case closure and have it to be closed because that woman did everything that she was supposed to do. And so, it just was what it was. Like, there was nothing that anybody could say outside of, wow, like, okay. And I tried to take another one, and I thought that I was going to be able to get that one closed, but they didn't feel like it was. They felt like maybe the next month, the next month or two, I would have been able to bring it before them, and then it would be closed. It just felt like maybe just a little bit. Let's just keep our eyes peeled just a little bit longer. And see, that's my thing. Like I said, it's making me feel like this heifer still had an open case, because there are some people that have an open case, and since they are still considered to be minors, of course, because of their ages, maybe she was getting some type of assistance from them or from somebody in that department. And so in order to keep getting the assistance, the children have to be in the home. Now, is this a situation where she indeed did have involvement from the department of however they do child protective services or whatever, and the person was not doing home visits? I don't understand that. I don't know what's going on. These children are definitely considered to be at risk. Ain't no way you're going to be able to tell me that if this heifer had an active open case to the department or whatever it is, child services, whatever they call it down there in Texas. And, she had, like, I think they said that when everything was initially open, or whenever they did look into her background, that was in Louisiana. So I don't know if she was from Louisiana, moved to Texas. You know what I'm saying? Hurricane Katrina happened, and a lot of people did move to Texas. Maybe that was the relocation that happened. And that's why when we see that they fled. I'm like, what about to say flew? They fled, and they were found in Baton Rouge, and they were going to expedite them back to a county in Texas. That's why. That's why she has that history. Now, is it with those kids? It wouldn't surprise me if it was. Please don't let her have no more kids. It wouldn't surprise me if she had more children somewhere. But anyway, she definitely did her children a disservice. They're going to be scarred. They definitely need therapy. They're going to need therapy probably for the rest of their lives. I can't imagine my parents putting me through something like that. I can't even begin to imagine. I'm tearing up just even thinking about it. I can't imagine something like that. That don't even make no sense to me. I just don't understand. You are supposed to be here to protect them. You brought them into this world. They didn't ask to be here. And this is what you do? Y'all, I don't know if I'm going to screen record and then like post what the video is. If nothing else, I'm going to at least post the link. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and I don't understand how people like that sleep at night. I don't understand how they live with themselves after doing stuff like this to children. Anyway, thank y'all for listening. This is just my thoughts on the situation. Jail, electric chair, and all of that. What do y'all think?